As I stepped through the broken window and onto the abandoned factory floor, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. The air was thick with dust and the musty smell of decay. Elaborate graffiti-tagged murals covered the walls, eerie images of creatures with wide-open eyes and twisted smiles that seemed to stare back at me with a malevolent intent. I carefully made my way through the maze of rusted machinery, silently creeping through the shadows, my flashlight beam trembling with each step. Suddenly, I heard a faint whisper, almost indiscernible at first, but soon growing louder and more insistent. It was like a chorus of voices, all speaking at once, but the words were jumbled and incomprehensible. My heart pounding in my chest, I followed the whispering, drawn like a moth to a flame. Finally, I rounded a corner and came face to face with a door that seemed to have materialized out of nowhere. It was made of aged hardwood, laced with iron bars, and covered in strange symbols etched into the wood. With shaking hands, I pushed open the door, and a gust of cold air hit me like a blast from a winter storm. Inside the room, the walls were covered in a thick layer of cobwebs, and dozens of candles flickered on pedestals around the room, casting an eerie glow. In the center of the floor, a figure stood with its back to me, a hooded cloak draped over its frame. The whispers had grown to a feverish pitch, and I could feel them closing in on me, wrapping me in a cacophony of sound. The figure turned slowly, and I saw that its face was shrouded in darkness, only a pair of gleaming eyes staring out at me from under the hood. I tried to back away, but my legs were rooted to the spot, and I found myself drawn closer and closer to the figure. The whispers grew louder still, and I could make out words now, words that made my skin crawl with a primal fear. The figure spoke, and its voice was like nails on a chalkboard, a creaking sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "You are not meant to be here," the figure said. "Your curiosity has led you down a path that leads only to darkness." I opened my mouth to speak, but no sound came out, and the whispers grew louder, until they were deafening. The figure reached out a hand, and I felt myself falling into a void of absolute terror, a maelstrom of darkness that swallowed me whole. And then, I woke up. It had all been a dream, or maybe a nightmare. But even as I sat up in bed, gasping for air, I could still hear the whispers, still feel the cold breath of the figure on the back of my neck. I never went urban exploring again,